character map for Othello, the play by William Shakespeare. There are many spoilers, as I am going to give reasons for why I've drawn characters a particular way or given them a particular item. So there are spoilers, just keep that in mind. So in the middle of the character map, we have Othello. He is drawn in green. He also has a sword. He is a military man. He's a mercenary, a soldier for hire. And later on in the play, they do speak about jealousy. Desdemona speaks about it. Emilia speaks about it. And it is referred to as the green-eyed monster. And generally, over time, we have come to associate the color green with jealousy, and this is where it comes from. So throughout the story summary, which will be the video to follow, there will be Othello drawn in green. So I'm going to start with Desdemona and that side of the character map, and then move over to the left-hand side of the map. So Othello is married to Desdemona. So Othello is a Moor. He comes from sort of Africa towards the Middle East. African man, Arabian man, and he is now fighting in the army and leading the army of Venice, which of course is in Europe, Caucasian people, and Desdemona is married to him, which causes some of the issues in the play, and also when you read the play, some of the slurs that are used against Othello. So Desdemona is depicted as having a halo and a handkerchief in red embroidery, which becomes very important later on. Her father is Brabantio. He is a senator, which means he adds counsel to the Duke of Venice in matters of state. He is depicted with a tombstone behind his head because he didn't know about Desdemona marrying Othello. He didn't give his blessing and consent. He wasn't happy about it. And later on in the play, we find out that it actually broke him, and he died as a result of it. Then we have Desdemona's uncle, Rosinio, just a plain stick figure there. He comes in later in the play and gives some news. Then we've got Rodrigo, who is depicted with a letter, because he does bring a letter from the Duke to Othello, and while Othello is reading the letter, he's also listening to what Desdemona has to say, and there is a, how can I put it, there's a bit of misunderstanding because he's responding to things that Desdemona is saying, but people are assuming that he's responding to what is in the letter, and that adds some of the tension and the suspense. Then we have Rodrigo. Now he is a Venetian man. He is a suitor of Desdemona, obviously quite a determined one, because her father is very well aware of him, knows him very well, and is actually quite irritated by him. He does have money, but I've also drawn a little flopping rose, a wilting rose, because his suit of her never gets anywhere. Also quite a naive and a gullible man. Then we have Emilia, who is a lady in waiting to Desdemona. Emilia has a question mark and an exclamation mark, because she's got a duty to her husband, but she's also got loyalty to Desdemona. She wants to please her husband, but she also doesn't want to cause trouble. So she's just a very conflicted person. She is married to Iago. Now, Iago I've drawn with two faces. Very early on in the play, he makes an oath, a vow, and he swears by the god Janus, who is a two-faced god, and we'll come a little bit later to that in the story summary. And I've drawn a dotted line between him and Rodrigo, And I've put friends in inverted commas because Iago comes across as a friend to Rodrigo, but he also makes it very clear multiple times that he's just using him. Iago is Othello's ensign, which is a military term. It's a flag bearer, the standard bearer, that's what they call it. Quite a low rank. He did wish to be the lieutenant to Othello, but has since then been demoted, and that is part of his grievance towards Othello, as well as believing rumors that Othello had slept with his wife Emilia. And of course, lack of communication, doesn't actually check to see if it's true, doesn't try and verify it, and basically becomes very bitter. And that's also a very big part of him trying to bring Othello low and get back at him. Then we've got the clown, who is a servant to Othello, and very often, as we see in Shakespeare's plays, clowns or a comical character of some sort are used to break the tension. They are comic relief in very serious, very pent up, very dramatic, very intense plays, novels, series, movies. There has to be some kind of comic relief because you don't want to stretch somebody's emotion or their emotional tension too much. You know, you want to bring it down at some point so that they can prepare themselves for the next bit of the story. So we have the clown, who's a servant. He comes in twice. Then we have Cassio, who is Othello's lieutenant and a friend, and I've drawn him with a alcohol bottle because he does have a weakness to alcohol, and that's something that Iago also uses to manipulate situations in the story. And he has this lover by the name of Bianca. I've drawn her with a fan. So she protests that she's not a prostitute, but there are several inferences made towards that. And again, I've just labeled their lovers with a dotted red line because they're not married, there's no engagement, not boyfriend or girlfriend either. Then at the top, we've got Montano, the governor of Cyprus. He's got a slightly smaller crown on the right-hand side of him. And then we've got the Duke of Venice with a slightly bigger crown on the left-hand side of his head. And then we've got the senators of Venice, which are depicted as the men holding the scrolls. So that is it for the character map. And the story summary will follow shortly. I will just include the point about Janus. So Janus is a two-faced god. Sometimes if you read novels, fantasy literature, I think it comes up in, what is it, The Lightning Thief, Rick Riordan's novels about the half-bloods, you know, the demigods, children of, you know, the Greek gods and goddesses. I think it comes across there, but it's used quite a lot in literature, and it's usually when somebody is saying something but they mean something else. They are deliberately hiding truth. It's half-truths. It's meant for deception. So that is very, very important. So that's why Iago's head looks the way it does. All right, thanks.